All right, so this is the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply equalization to the signal. I'm going to EQ the signal to be more pleasant sounding. Okay, and this is probably something. Have you done much of this in your mixing in the past, or you have mostly just adjusted levels?
EQ and
Yeah. Okay. You're comfortable? Have you? Okay. So my goal would be that you would get comfortable with doing this, and that this would become a normal part of your Sunday morning. All right, because it's necessary. Sometimes it has to be done to make something sound decent. Sometimes. All right. So what am I doing? This is built into every channel. You have this EQ. They call it PEQ. That's parametric equalization. It basically is just a glorified tone control. Okay, it's the bass and treble control of your car stereo, just finer controls and more of them. All right, so I've got 4 filters, what they call filters, that I can change, and I can alter the sound of my voice. So they labeled them as low, mid, and high. But realistically, any of these 4 can be used at any position. So you literally could use them completely backwards if you wanted to. That's just to help you get a mental grasp on what you're doing. You can do this several different ways. If I wanted to adjust the low mid filter, that's the section right here. If I want to adjust the low mids, I would light that up. And now these 3 buttons become active to control that filter. Watch the screen right here. So I can adjust the volume of that particular part of the frequency range. Okay, that's volume, that's gain. I can also adjust what frequency I'm affecting, anywhere from the very lowest frequencies to the very highest frequencies. And I can also make that a very wide filter that affects a lot of stuff, or I can make it a surgical narrow filter if I'm just going after a particular problem. Okay? Now, when you're first starting out, all you're really worried about is finding what frequency to adjust and how much do I adjust it. All right? So we're going to use this low mid, and I'm going to go through and you're going to hear what this is doing. So I'm going to turn up the gain right here, 1, 2, 1, 2, and you hear what that's doing to my voice. The part of my voice that is turning up, right? Now I'm going to adjust the frequency, and you'll hear that now it's starting to affect a different part of my voice, and it's changing the tone of my voice by which part of my voice I'm turning up. All right, so visually, that should match what you're hearing, right? This is turning up the very highest, it's all the sizzle in my voice, right? This is turning up like kind of the nasally sounds, all right? This is kind of turning up kind of the woolly cardboard box sounds, and then this is turning up the mud, right? So how do I use this? Well, whenever I patch something into the channel for the first time, I'm going to set my input gain. I'm going to decide if I want to use a high pass filter or not, and then I'm going to listen, just 5 seconds of listening, and your first impression of whatever sticks out and makes you kind of go, ooh, that's the thing you want to get away from. That's the thing you want to get out of that signal, okay? So listening to my voice right now, what I hear right now is a little bit of kind of woofiness, like a kind of in that area. My voice would be clearer if I could get that out, right? So the way that I do that is I pick one of these filters. Since it's kind of a thing that's in the middle, I'm going to use either my low middle or my high mid, one of those two, but I'm going to use my low mid like we did before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the gain and create a boost, because our ears will pick that out better than a cut, right? And I'm just going to sweep my frequency until I hear the woofiness that I did not like. It's not up here. It's not up here. It's down here further. I'm just going to keep sweeping. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right there it is. Ooh. That's the woofiness that I didn't like, right? So all I did is just use a boost to locate it. And then I just take my boost and turn it into a cut. Now what I've done is I've just taken the woofiness factor out of my voice. And you can hear how much clearer my voice sounds and how much more intelligible my voice is because it's not being masked by that. Exactly, right? So I'm gonna do that, maybe one adjustment like that, or maybe two adjustments like that. And it's all on the first impressions, the first things that you hear. Take 5 seconds without doing anything and just listen. And the first thing that you hear is the thing you should go after, the first impression. Don't overthink it. Don't sit here with headphones for 2 minutes going after a bunch of stuff. Just first thing, oh, that's what it is. Sweep around, make a boost, sweep around until I hear it. Oh yeah, that's the, okay, I got a really nasally female singer and it's feeling like an ice pick in my forehead, and I sweep around up here until I hear that ice pick in my forehead. And once I hear the ice pick, then I just turn the gain down, and all of a sudden, my screechy female singer has become much more pleasant, right? 30 seconds or a minute, and I should be done with that and moving on to the next thing, okay? Now, I may circle back to that and fine tune it, but I'm gonna do that as my first thing in the first 30 or 40, 30 seconds or a minute of that channel being on. That's what I'm gonna do, and then move on to the next one. So this is the kind of stuff that you're doing on a practice night. If it, I don't know if you practice on Thursday nights, let's just say you practice on Thursday nights. I've got the band sitting up there, and I've got a new guitar player, and all I want to do is, hey Fred, play your guitar. Okay, play your guitar. Okay, select his channel, go to the preamp gain, baffle his channel, look at it on the meter, get it up to about halfway. Okay, now I bring up the fader and I listen. Does it need a high cut or a high pass filter? It needs a high pass filter. Turn the high pass filter on. Bring it up until the guitar sounds unnatural. Oh, too far. Bring it back down a bit. Guitar sounds natural. I've cleaned up all the low end stuff. And then 5 seconds of listening again. Does it sound natural? Does it sound good? Is it too tingy? Is it too boomy? If I think it's too tingy, I get one of my filters and I turn it up and I sweep through the high end to find where the tinginess is. Turn that down. Okay, in like 30 seconds, Fred's guitar is now at least good enough for practice, right? And that's the process. I mean, it's not rocket science. It really is just kind of those 3 steps. Now, if I do all of that and I build my mix and I have things relatively balanced and nothing sticking out too much and I can hear the singers, guess what? I'm probably in the top 10% of churches in the US. Just by that, right? Now, if I can get through a service without something feeding back, I'm probably in the top 5%, right? So don't overcomplicate. Because you can do so many things doesn't mean you have to do all the things. Focus on the priorities, and then within that, let's just say we're having a practice on a Thursday night. I'm sound checking, making sure everybody's mics are working, making sure the singers are, I've got good level on all the singers. I've done this process on all the news sources. Now the band's playing through the set. Now I can go back, solo up each individual thing. I can do a little fine tuning. I can sit here and I can play a little bit with the levels between the bass and the kick drum and that kind of stuff. That happens while the band is playing. But if I get these basic things right, I'm so much further ahead than I was when I started, right? So that's the process right there. Any questions about that?